Hi everyone. We're just going to give it there maybe about half a minute for there's quite a few people logging in. So just going to give but as I say, maybe another half minute before we start and then we'll kick it off. Okay. So I think we'll kick it off. Um, just want to welcome everyone to this breeding information meeting tonight. Um, Tom Baker is my own name. I'm the commercial manager with Munster Bovine, and I'm joined by three guest speakers. First up, we have Cathal Doyle, who is he's working with Warrendale Wagyu here in Ireland, and they work in conjunction with KeyPack. You can see, I think, everyone on the screen there. They're now operating here in their third season in Ireland, and I think it's a brand that's going to become, I think, very popular to a lot of farmers. I think it's something um, that Keepack in particular and Warrendale UK, they're keen to grow the market big time. I see they're working now with the likes of Aldi and Tesco and quite a number of supermarkets, and there's quite a bit of demand for the Wagyu beef, which is probably it's considered the best tasting beef worldwide, and be very interesting to hear from Cathal all about that. Next up, we have Stephen Shannon from Munster Bovine. And so Stephen's going to give a quick rundown through a number of top sires, which should be, give us a flavour of the better dairy sires for the coming breeding season. And then finally, last but not least, is Ciaran O'Sullivan. Ciaran works with MSD SenseHub, and obviously I think collars have become technology have become very popular again in the last year or two. The Thames grant, of course, has been a great help, and a lot of farmers who've put in these collars really see the benefits, not just in terms of heat detection, but also for the health associated. That's also a great benefit, a lot of farmers will say. So we'll kick off. I want to, as I said, Cathal is up first. So maybe Cathal, I know Cathal, are you there, Cathal, on the screen?
Yeah, hit you now, Tom.
Perfect. So, Cathal, you might just tell us a bit about yourself, and I know. Say we've been up on your farm, your beef farm. You work with your brother and your father up there, not too far from Abbey Leaks, but we were actually up on there. Was it September? I think last September we called up,
Yeah,
and
September, October. Yeah,
yeah, and you run a very impressive setup there, and you bring in a lot of calves yourself. So you've been doing that for a number of years, and you take them right through to finish. On the day there, we would have seen some Wagyu weaning yearlings. They were mixed in with Angus, and I suppose the amazing thing about them is all was that it was hard to pick out the Wagyus really, So I suppose you might just certainly give us a flavour of why you got into uh, working with Warrendale Wagyu and all that. I just want to say as well, I suppose, that we do have a chatbot facility as well to take any questions throughout the session. We will take a number of questions after each presentation, and also at the end, there'll be maybe another 10 minutes for a question and answer session at the very end. So over to you, Cathal. You have a number of slides to present and so forth. So away you go.
yeah, perfect. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, so Cathal Doyle is my name. I am here working with Warrendale Wagyu, and program manager here in Ireland, working with kind of all our farmers, both our dairy and beef farmers throughout the country. for the past number of years. And I suppose we're looking at trying to grow our program now is our big thing. And that's kind of where we're aiming for over the next number of years. To get numbers up and running with both dairy and beef farmers is our target. So I suppose, first of all, just a quick background to Warrendale Wagyu itself. So Jim Bloom originally set up the business in Yorkshire in England. Originally back years ago, he started doing free-range eggs. So he grew that business now, which is producing 1.7 million eggs a week, into Aldi. So now he kind of, I think it was back 2017, he originally started. He looked at doing Wagyu. So his first year there, he set out and started into the business. And over the years then, since then, he started with 10 cattle in the first year in 2017. So currently now doing over 65,000 Wagyu cattle born a year in the UK. We're partnered with nearly 1,000 farmers. So at the moment, they're producing about 560 cattle a week being finished. And most of that meat is going into Aldi and other retails over in the UK, and a touch being exported then across Europe and into Asia. So 3 years ago, Warrendale Wagyu partnered with Keepak, and then along with our AI partners, Munster and Progressive Genetics, they set up in Ireland and started working with dairy farmers. So we're working with over 150 farmers in the country at the moment, and I suppose for us, this to produce a better tasting beef, both for consumers and retailers. That's what the market is at the moment, and that's where we seem to be heading, and it's growing year on year, and I suppose we've no ceiling on it, is what we're looking at the moment. So I suppose our program details itself. Our straws are imported from Genus ABS over in England. All our bulls are purebred. They're trial and tested before they come into the country. So that's meaning then that anything that we have coming into Ireland at the moment, which is 2 bulls available, it's WA 2613 and WA 2615. Both of them bulls are available through Munster and Progressive. And having them trial and tested before they come into the country is a huge help for the farmers. That one, we know what our gestation is like. We know what the calving ease is going to be like. And then also then that we know what the carcass weight is going to be like for our beef farmers or whoever wants to finish the animal at the end, that we know that we're getting a good marbled meat. And also then that we have enough of a size of a carcass then for a farmer to get a good payment for it. Onto our cows, I suppose. The type of cow we're after is your black and white Frisian cow, or a cow that has no Jersey genetics. That's our big aim. It's ensuring that a beef farmer is getting a good sized calf from that type cow and not having a Jersey genetics in that is the big help behind it. We asked that farmers are part of the National Genotype Programme. So for that then, it's just ensuring that we are getting a calf that is a Wagyu, because they are black and around calving season, it is easy to mix them up possibly with an Angus or anything else. And then it is just securing a Wagyu for us. And then also then it's ensuring that there's no Jersey genetics behind the animal either. The calves themselves, look, they're hardy, they're up and going, they're a vigorous calf, they're easy calved, and they're very easy managed on that side of things. And it's just a simple system for the farmers. I suppose moving on to the benefits of the Wagyu program for the farmers. So what we offer is a guaranteed pricing structure, which is like for farmers, it is that long-term planning. So before any straw is put into a dairy cow, that we will have a contract there for the dairy farmer showing him what price is going to be. And then he knows then next March or April when he goes to sell calves, that he knows exactly what he's going to get for calves. And it's just known, and it's the security with the market it is at the moment. I think it is, I suppose, long-term planning. At the moment, we don't have a price set for 2027, but in the coming weeks, we do plan on setting a price, and we will let you know throughout messaging channels or online. But just at the moment, I suppose, maybe with the uncertainty with blue tongue and everything else on export, calf price is a little bit uncertain, and we'd like to kind of have something set that's competitive, but also then a good element of security for a farmer, that he can have a bunch of calves coming in 2027 and say that he knows he's getting a guaranteed price for it. If it's 10 calves at 300 a piece, he knows that's a guaranteed 3,000 he's getting, or whatever, which it goes. And I suppose the other benefits then is, I suppose, looking at the UK, back from 2017, how it's grown from 10 to 65,000 cattle. It just shows that it is a proven track record that numbers grow year on year, and that the same farmers are continuously there the whole time. And I suppose it's guaranteed outlet for calves. So the one thing we kind of say is that farmers are sure that they're going to get calves out of the yard, that it's just a simple system that no matter where the market goes, we'll still have, an outlet for our calves because we have a market for that beef at the other end, and it's an element of security there. So we offer a free on-farm collection service. So the way we work is that we have people going around the country picking up calves for us every week, and it's a thing that once we give you a day and we stick to that day, and that's very important for both the dairy farmer, that he knows if he has 20 calves to go, that if we agree that we're coming next Tuesday, that we're there on that day and the calves are cleared and it's secure for him, that he knows he has a pen cleared out and they're gone, and there's no haggling on price. And our price is both the same for bulls and heifers. So it's just a flat price no matter what. And them calves are coming off farm at 3 to 4 weeks of age in any size bunches, and it's whatever suits the farmer is the way we work at it. The Wagyu itself, I suppose, is ideal for the cow herself, that she's going back and calf easier and into milk quicker because it is such an easy calving. It's less stress for the cow and for the farmer. So we provide a technical support to all our farmers. So that's really if any farmer has problems with, say, anything, I suppose, more so towards farmers that are finishing the Wagyu, that if he wants to look at feed or anything like that, that we have nutritionists available and we can alter feeds or look at feeds and kind of look at cattle and see what they need and kind of plan around it. And then we can talk to farmers then about calving season or whatever, whichever way they want to work. Payment really, so the way we work is our farmers have the contract, they have the price. So when we land on farm, we just give you a herd number that the calf is going into, you give us the move insert number, and then farmers are all paid direct debit by key pack. So it's just the simplest paperless system, and it's just the best way kind of going forward for farmer to keep it less messy around calving season. So on the finishing side of things, so if any dairy farmer wants to finish their own animal, it is an opportunity for them to do that. Or then, I suppose, for any lads that has kind of beef farmers that are also in a relationship every year, because I know there is certain dairy farmers that have kind of people that rear their own calves and that kind of a thing. And if it's something that they want to offer to them as another kind of outlet for their calves or their beef, it is here for them. So we offer a premium set price on top of the base price. So from January to July, we'll be paying €1.50 on top of base price. And from July to December, we pay $1.70 on top of the base price. And then also within our beef contracts, we put a guarantee of €6.50 a kilo for anybody producing Wagyu beef. So that's really just saying that no matter how far the beef falls, that if it goes back to the €4, €4.50 a kilo or anywhere near that, we'll still give you $6.50 a kilo no matter what. So the prices are flat and are not affected by the grading system. So whether it's an R, O, or P, you still get that $1.50 on top of base price. So this week's prices, if they're €7, we pay $8.50 this week for Wagyu. And kind of looking at that pricing, we're kind of saying that it's about €1 or more even on top of even any Angus bonus that's being paid, which are quality assurance or whatever, that the Wagyu is probably topping out that. I suppose moving on then, I suppose on the beef side of things, we have, I suppose, the base price there looking at it. So we're calling the base price that week was $7.50 plus €1.50. We're looking at bullocks coming in 21 months old. It's an O minus 4 minus. It was 280 kilos, and at €9 a kilo, he came into €2,520. And we see a heifer there in the middle. She's 20 months old. She's an O plus 4 minus. Again, 279 kilos at €9 a kilo. It's coming into 2,511. And you see a bullock down the bottom. He came in at 19 months of age. He was an O plus 3 equals 291 kilos at €9 a kilo. He's making 2,619. So I suppose possibly with the perception with some farmers, they think Wagyu has to be kept on farm 3-4 years. But really, I don't think it is. I think we can get cattle out under 2 years, and we're showing it there year on year with us, with any cattle coming through the system in Keepack, that a lot of our cattle are coming in anywhere from maybe 18, 19 months to maybe some farmers wish to keep them a bit longer. But we are getting out cattle very early, and any of the cattle, even on our own farm at home, they're in among the Angus, they're in among the Hereford, and they're matching them weight on weight there. And you can see like them weights there, they're fairly matching up with any Angus that would be killed around that age. And then it's just, look, it's another option for farmers if they want to look at it. And then I suppose on the meat side of things, that's really just what we're looking at is the Wagyu there. So you see the cuts there, you see the veins of intramuscular fat, which we call the marbling, throughout the meat. And that's just really what we're looking for. And that's what consumers and retailers are looking for, is that extra level of meat. And it's just a tastier and more tender meat. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So if you've any questions there, I'm sure Tom can see him there and fire away, and we can, or if you have any questions at the end, we can touch it after Ciaran has finished up too. So thanks.
Okay, Cathal, excellent. I suppose there's a question in there. Is there a minimum or maximum number of AI straws to be ordered?
So we asked farmers to take maybe 25 straws that we at least have kind of 10 or a dozen calves minimum. Worst case scenario, out of them 25 straws that he'd have a batch and he'd have a flavour of to see what he can see what the Wagyu are like. And I suppose it's just easier for that for us as well, picking up a batch together too, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. And a question like at home there, you're used to finishing cattle, say, obviously your Wagyus for the first year and even the second year, I presume they're out on grass and is a fairly intensive for feeding then regime for the last 3 months or something. Is that the way you do it at home, Cathal?
Yeah,
Or
so I suppose the way we're looking at it is that I suppose they ask the father to kind of rear them the same as if they rear any other calf. So they get the same amount of milk powder, they'll get the same diet out on grass. They're among the Frisian Bulls or the Herefords or the Angus or whichever they're in a bunch with. And then I suppose when it comes to the finishing time, they will be in the shed with the rest of them. I suppose we're probably looking at getting out Angus's maybe at that 70, 80 days feeding, and the Wagyu would probably be in that little touch longer. We're probably leaning more towards 100 days maybe of the same feeding. But looking at what it costs to feed an animal for that little bit longer and the premium it pays on half of it, the Wagyu is still coming well out on top by the looks of things. You know, that you're getting that extra euro a kilo on a 300 kilo carcass. It's an extra 300 euros in the difference to the Angus, you know.
and is there penalties for the bonuses or what way? How does that work?
No, so there's no minimum carcass weight, no maximum carcass weight. It's flat pricing, so whatever that price is that week, we pay the premium on top of it, and no farmer is penalised either which way.
Okay, so like a two, yeah, obviously there's probably you want a three, four, three fat score minimum, is it?
Yeah, so I suppose look, it'll be myself or any of the procurement team going out and looking at the animals before they're slaughtered anyway, so that we will like if we think an animal isn't fit to kill, we probably won't kill it anyway, and it'll be an agreement beforehand. So if we think it's fit for slaughter, we'll bring it on anyway, you know, and the farmer will still get paid the same. That ideally we do like them into a three minimum anyway, that there is a little bit of a fat cover on them.
Yeah. Um, so there's a question in there, is it just based off the price of the Farmer's Journal, or what is the price, the base price set? How is that set? There's a question in
In
there.
the slaughter period.
Yes.
Yes, so it'll be based on the key pack weekly price. So whatever the base price is in key pack that week is what will be based off.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
suppose this week's base price is 7 and 7.10, I think. So that's what we'll be basing off this week.
Yeah. Another question came in. Is there a minimum collection that maybe, you might have, say, three or four calves born 1 week, and then maybe 2 weeks later there's another three or four, if you've guy buys 20, 25 straw, but then there might be one, calf, a straggler at the end, call it. How do you manage that?
Well, I
What's
suppose
the
look,
procedure?
we don't plan on leaving any calf in a farm. I suppose once we kind of get notice is the big thing we go with farmers. So if a farmer says to us that he wants calves collected next week, we're able to plan around them that it'll be just a matter of swinging into them and picking up the one or two calves. We don't mind. I suppose like ideally, if a lad takes 20, 25 straws, that he'd try use them in a compact period, that them calves are kind of coming together. But of course, if he has one or two at the end and they're there in the shed, we'll no problem swing in and pick them up. We've been last year we were in for twos and threes, just to make it simple on farmers that we swung in, and there's no problem at all. It's understandable. Calves are always going to come maybe a little bit later or whatever, and we'll swing in and pick them up. We don't plan on leaving any calves on a farm anyway. We want them all.
Yeah. And in fairness, I know the feedback coming back that, if there was even a slightly smaller calf and he was the last calf being born to Wagyu, I mean, I know it for a fact, Colin, that you did take that calf, even though ideally you'd have preferred if you had been a little bit bigger. But if he was I think you were quite understanding and able to facilitate that out
Yeah,
on
so like look,
farm.
one thing we do have in comparison, I suppose, to other calf collection schemes, is that we have no minimum weight that a calf has to be. But we do ask a calf is just probably reared the same as a heifer calf, that he gets its 3 litres of colostrum when it's born, and it's on a good bed of straw and healthy, and it's not neglected or any other thing else, that it's done the same as any other calf on the
Yeah.
farm. And I suppose that when we come to collect calves, that you'll be proud of a calf leaving the farm, or if you were the beef farmer, that you'd be happy to receive that calf too, is all we kind of ask of any of our dairy farmers.
And what is the roughly say, is it from 3 weeks to 35 days is the average, is it, or
No,
in
it'll
terms
be
of,
21 to 28. So it'll be the 3 to 4 weeks of age mark is kind of when we're picking up calves. So it's kind of like just,
okay,
I suppose we say the 3 to 4 weeks, the lad might pull a bunch together then, and to be a range from 3 weeks to 4 weeks, that in that week then he'd have a
yeah,
bunch of calves. And we're happy, like if a lad has a bunch of calves there, we're happy to swing once a week. If he has few coming every week, that we'll kind of collect them.
okay.
Yeah.
Another question there from Richard just while ago. I know you mentioned that you've no calf price set for 2027, but is there a calf price set for this spring?
Yes, so we had agreed with farmers in 2025 when straws were going in that we had a set price of €250 for both bull and heifer calves. At the moment, we are reviewing that price, and it is very possibly that we will increase that price. Going the way calf price is going, that we will probably up it, but we won't be going any less than 250 at the moment. We're just kind of waiting to see which way the trade goes. But it is very possible that we will be shoving it up just to help out farmers there. I know calf prices should be up for them this year, and we are looking to review it there at the moment. Yeah.
I suppose obviously it's a market that yourselves and Keepat want to grow. So look, I think in fairness, you won't be found wanting because look, farmers obviously they're not foolish and they want to get a fair price. And I think once they get a fair price, everyone is happy. I think that's the objective here. Like,
Yeah, I know 100%. And look, we're in communication there with a
yeah,
couple of farmers and that kind of thing, and we're watching market trades and that, and we can see that it is a good trade at the moment. But in the
yeah,
coming weeks, where that trade will go, it's kind of hard to know with the whole thing after coming out in the last week. But we will stick to the 250 definitely, and more than likely probably will up it. And what
yeah.
that's to, we probably will know in the next week or two as well.
Well, I suppose it brings another valid point that, see, I think we all thought maybe that we'd escape blue tongue, the virus here in the Republic until maybe, middle of the summer, even late summer into August, when the ticks would become active and that if it was going to spread down through the north, but the cases in Wexford certainly have caught us all by surprise, but it does probably highlight how valuable this scheme could be because these calves are being kept in Ireland. We're not talking about something that's reliant on export of these live calves. So if the live shipping becomes an issue over the next couple of weeks and into a couple of months, I think this scheme certainly creates a great opportunity for farmers. That's
Oh,
my
definitely.
own
Yeah, I
my
think it
own
is that
belief.
element of security of cattle staying within the country, and we have a guaranteed market for the beef. And beef farmers knowing that they have that security element of that 650 kilo, no matter what, it is more appealing for them to be able to have calves on farm and buy Wagyu calves. And no matter what price goes to, we'll stand over our price, and calves will be collected off farm. And I think that's the big thing that any of our farmers so far in the program like. It is that element of security, knowing that no matter where things go, that they have an outlet for their calf.
So there's two things you're looking for. You're looking for maybe dairy farmers, dairy herds who'll put in straws of the Wagyu. Seeing there's two bulls, as you said, available. From a Munster perspective and PG, I can speak say that we're delighted that these bulls have been used previously in England, so we know both their gestation length and I suppose that their field fertility results that they're well above average, both bulls. So that would be very important for us. So farmers had that assurance. So farmers, the straws, there was a question asked, what is the price of the straws? The straws are €19 a straw. But obviously then the benefits is that the calves will be collected off farm so that the farmer will have no vet fees and he doesn't have to go to the mart. And I suppose we're all seeing that labour has become a big issue on farm. In bygone years, farmers they used to love going to the mart. I know my own father, and it was like a day out, and there was no pressure. And whereas now farmers, particularly during the spring months, they're to pin in their collar, and they literally don't have time to go to the mart. And so that's a great service. And I suppose yeah, they don't also have the benefit of not having any commission, the mark commission. So what they're getting. They're getting in full, whatever it is going to be the price per
Yeah.
calf. Okay, excellent. A few more questions. Yeah, came in about gestation length. So on average, they probably are a few days longer, maybe about 2 to 3 days longer than an average Angus. I think that's fair to say. But they're actually not really that hard calving, as a breed. They'd be probably on the par somewhere between an Angus and a Hereford. I think it's fair to say that's where they probably lie, somewhere between a Hereford and an Angus. Um, I don't know, was there a few more questions? I think I saw some question. There was Derek put in a question there about the female versus males, but like you're paying the same as calves, you're paying the exact same. And then
Yeah.
obviously when it comes to being slaughter, it's really down to carcass weight is the key. So
Yeah, so
the male.
you'll get your 10 cent more for your heifer in slaughter period, is the only difference. So I suppose what
Okay,
difference? Yeah, so your heifers this week are say 7.10 and bullocks are €7. So your
okay.
difference with 10 cent there standard, I suppose, than any other animal, and it'll be just the 860, or sorry, not the 150 paid on top of that. So bring it to 860. So in fairness, there's not a huge variation that we see between bullocks and heifers. I suppose you're always going to have heifers finishing that a little bit quicker, and then I suppose bullocks will probably be that little bit heavier too, like any other
Yes.
standard kind of beef animal.
Okay. Okay, great stuff. Yeah, no, Carl, appreciate that for your very honest answers on all those. And as I say, we will also take some more questions there at the very end. So with that, we move on to Stephen Shannon, who is Stephen is working with Munster Bovine. There with the last year, Stephen is probably a well-known face in wholesale breeding circles. Stephen and his father Robert Shannon, they run the Ballydehob herd in down in West Cork, and they also have a pedigree Angus herd, the Gabriel herd, and both herds would have put numerous bulls into AI over the past few years. And so I suppose even one of the most popular bulls currently in that Munster Bovine have, say last year and also this year, is a bull called Ballydehob Ringo, Stephen, and it's a great cow family. Maybe if you just want to kick off and start, maybe a bit about the family behind Ringo. Maybe you might tell us a bit about him.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I suppose we were lucky enough to breed Ringo. He was an OTS son out of a 92 pointed Yamaska dam, a cow that's really performing well in the herd. She's calving down bang on every October. Currently in her fourth lactation now, and she did over a ton of solids in her last lactation and her third lactation. But I suppose the highlight feature of the family is her fourth is Ringo's fourth dam. Probably a once in a lifetime cow. She was an old man Trixie. She was 15 years old, 14 lactations. She was the highest production cow in the country with over 150 tons of milk and I think nearly 12,000 kilos of solids. But yeah, it's a really good cow family for us, and even the Yamaska's daughters are performing really well in the herd now. We've two milking daughters off her as well, so hopefully Ringo will continue to breed on like that family has done so.
Super, great. And I know you have another new young bull there called Ballydehob Jason. Again, out of it's a different line. It's out the Patsy family. There's a lot of Fiji excellent cows in the back pedigree, but I see the dam she's an excellent Perseus, and she's 10,000 liters every year. Is it a 390 protein, and fats are exceptional as well.
Yeah,
So
he looks pretty promising. There's a massive milk production sub index on him with a pile of milk and good solids. So be interesting to see how he goes. Yeah.
yeah, he's 128 milk sub index with 40 kgs of solids on the new base. So that would have been over 52 on the old figures, and which is massive, as you say. But anyway, getting onto the lineup of bulls that's available from Munster for the coming season. I think you're also just going to quickly drop a few slides there about the base chain. So look, we'll get going on that. All right, Stephen, work away.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So this isn't clicking for me. There we go. I suppose our new spring catalogue is just out. It will have arrived to most of you by now. If anyone hasn't got it, be sure to get in contact with someone, and we'll try and get it out to you as fast as possible to have a look through it and talk about the new bulls that are after coming through. And I suppose in particular the new base change that has just happened last winter. I suppose the base change was brought in. It was an update in the DBI. They went from the base population in 2005 to the base population in 2015. So it's interesting to see the amount of genetic gain that has been made over that 10-year period. I suppose for farmers looking at catalogues, it'll take a bit of time to get used to these new figures. But I suppose in the first couple of pages of our catalogue, we've got explainers in how to read these new figures and see what has changed. I suppose it's important to remember that there's been no re-ranking of bulls. All the bulls are still in the same order as what they were based on EBI. It's just there's been just under €100 come off the EBI in total. They're still the exact same bulls. Is the most important thing to remember. Again, I suppose there's been €45 come off the milk sub-index, 74 kilos of milk come off the milk index. So I suppose a lot of bulls now are actually now minus in milk. But I suppose it still doesn't affect them. I think the base cow now is for a 0 milk kilos is 6,300 litres. So a 0 milk bull or even a slight minus, there's still plenty of milk in those cows. Then you have your fat kilos and your protein kilos. But I suppose the total yield of the kilos of solids is minus 12.6 kilos of solids. I suppose a target for a lot of people the last couple of years was targeting 35 kilos of solids. So again, you're adjusting that back, taking 12.6 kilos off it. So if you were looking for a 35 kilo bull last year, you're now again looking at 22, 23 kilos. Then again, there's been massive improvements in fat and protein percentages. So if you were looking for a bull 0.30 in fat percentages, you're now looking for one in 0.23. And again, in protein, if you're looking for a bull in 0.2 protein, you're now looking for a bull in 0.15. And then again, there €52 came off the fertility sub-index. So I suppose the target before was 120 and fertility sub-index to maintain your 365-day calving interval. So then taking €50 off that, you're down to 70 or 80 euros. So it's just to show the gain that has happened over the last 10 years. Then again, this is just the explainer that's in our catalogue, and an easy conversion back to the old figures if you're not quite used to the new figures yet. It's an easy thing to look at, but I'll just skip through that and get on to the bulls. So I suppose we're lucky enough in Munster to have some of the top bulls in the country. I suppose the first bull there is Top Bike. He's the number one EBI bull available at the moment. Then again, Mojo, a fairly familiar name to people now. He's still the number one EBI bull on the active bull list. Then we have Tui Historic. He's the number one bull for TB resistance on the active bull list. TB resistance, I suppose people selecting for it is becoming quite popular now. So it's nice to see that we have the top bull for that too. Then again, for daughter-proven bull, Ivant is the number one daughter-proven bull, and we also have the number two daughter-proven bull, Swoop, and he's going to be available sexed as well. His Swoop is there. I've already covered him. Then I suppose British Friesians, we've the number one British Friesian for milk solids on the active bull list. We've done Man at Chopper, who is the #1 Irish bull on the active bull list for protein kilos. And then moving on to Ornate, who is the #1 Irish Holstein on the active bull list for protein percentages. So we've a great selection of bulls there to suit any system. So now I'm just going to talk quickly through a few panels and some of the bulls on them. So this is the targeting 550 kilos of milk solids. They're high-performing sires with balanced for production, fertility, and milk value. They're super milk solids with high components. And then the panel is split into two, sorted by mated and sub-index, which is the mature live weight of the animal. So we've high to medium live weight, the body weight ranging from 624 kilos to 570 kilos. And then we've a high maintenance sub-index panel that we'll go through quickly in a minute. Then again, you have the table at the bottom changing from the old figures to the new figures again today. So this is our low maintenance panel. There's a couple of bulls highlighted there that I'm just going to quickly run through. The first bull there is Bowerswood Cashback. He's a McGraw son out of a VG86 Super Nerd, and then goes back to a 89-pointed Premier Halogen cow. There's two super cows behind him. He goes back to the Eastland Golden cow family that bred Eastland Cash bull. There's a real nice balance between production and fertility between this bull. He's 88 production sub-index, 93 fertility sub-index, and an EBI of just under the 200 euros. Again, he has a health sub-index of 8, and he's exceptionally good in cell count and mastitis figures. Then moving on to his milk sub-index, 150 kilos of milk, 0.17 fat, 0.09 protein, and 26 kilos of solids. So a real high production sort of bull. Again, he's kind of an outcross pedigree to most bulls, with a lot of international sires in his pedigree. He's easy calving, and he's got super conformation traits as well. He's over 2 for others and over 1 on locomotion score. So he's going to breed a really well made functional sort of cows that are going to last within the herd. As well as his dam's production, he's got 6,000. His dam did 6,700 kilos of milk at 435 fat and 351 protein. 526 kilos of solids in our first lactation. So super production behind there for a heifer's lactation. So he's a great bull to use if you're looking for a bull to increase milk while maintaining fertility and solids, and adding a bit of conformation, good udders and good legs and feet into your cows. The next bull then is quite a similar bull to Cashback. Johnswell Rory. He's an Amax son out of an excellent Sebastian cow. Again, a massive production sub-index on this bull with 92 euros, along with 71 in fertility. And then again, a super health bull of 21. He's over 240 kilos of milk, 11 in fat and 0.06 in protein, coming in with a massive 28 kilos of solids, which is exceptionally good after the new base change. She was up at just above 40 kilos of solids. I suppose his real highlight is his production and his health sub-index. He's really good in all health traits, and very good in TB resistance as well. He's a bit of an outcross, being an Amax son. And the first daughters of him are actually going calving in this spring, and there's great reports on them. There's super strength and power to them. And going by the picture of the dam, she's the same. And again, he's positive on chest with legs and feet and udders, so he's going to breed really strong functional cows. And again, big production behind the dam, over 7,000 kilos of milk at 484 fat and 376 protein, over 600 kilos of solids. So that's Johnswell Rory. And really new, exciting young bull is Bunacloy Fantasy. He's a Star Trek son out of an 88-point Rossbane Leo, and then going back to a super 94-pointed Gibber cow. This family traces back to Holland, the Fetchy cow family, and there's five generations VG and excellent behind this bull. Again, coming in with a production sub-index of €80, fertility of 137, and then again a super health score of 2. Now he has a slight minus in milk at minus €82, but adjusting that back to the old figures, he was around the zero mark. But going by the cow family, I'd expect there to be a lot more milk in that bull. It dammed over 9,000 kilos in her fourth lactation, and the grand dam did nearly 12,000 kilos in her sixth lactation. So I've no doubt there's going to be loads of milk in him. A real protein and fat percentage improver. This bull is 0.26 fat and 0.17 protein, coming in with 18 kilos of solids. So he's a super bull to use if you're looking to improve fertility, improve percentages, while maintaining that milk and adding good functional type to your herd of cows. He's a really easy bull to recommend. I'd say he'll go very well this spring. Then moving down to Park Dove Magical, a new bull in again. He's a Mojo son out of a VG86 Tiernan and then a VG85 Ebony cow. We actually photographed the dam, grand dam, third dam, and fourth dam. All the cows are still alive on that farm today. So there's great longevity in that cow family. He's coming in with an ABI of 278 and a massive production sub-index and fertility. He's over 100 in both of them. Then moving on to his milk kilos, 78 kilos of milk, 0.22 fat, 0.17 protein, and a massive 29 kilos of solids. So a really good all-round bull there. Adding that little bit of milk, improving percentages massively. And then again, he's an easy calving bull. And I suppose for people that are interested in AAA, he's a 5-6-1 bull. So we'll add that bit of strength as well. Then onto the next one. We have Grassleaf. Sorry, yeah. Grassleaf is another new bull. He's a Casper son out of a VG85 Pivotal and then a 87-pointed Kunasoon Art. In coming in at 268 EBI, over 100 again in that production sub-index, and 90 in fertility. A real percentage improver bull again with 0.23 fat and 0.17 protein, and still come in at positive in milk kilos at 43 kilos of milk and 26 kilos of solids. He's a super grazing bull coming in with a maintenance of 15 and a balance of 26 kilos of solids. And he's easy calving as well. He's the same AAA as Magical, coming in at a 5-6-1, and there's actually 25% British Friesian again. So you'll see real power in his offspring again. So that's that panel. So then moving on to the higher maintenance bulls of the same panel. So coming in with an expected live weight of 570 kilos to 515 kilos. So two bulls I've highlighted in this are Dunmanna Paulson and Swifty Lucky. Paulson has been around a while now, but he's a really well-balanced bull. I quite like him. He's a Phoenix son out of a VG85 Kunasoon Art out of an 82-pointed LHZ. Again, he's coming in with an EBI at 227, a nice balance between production and fertility of 83 and 91. Again, his health is up at 13, a nice maintenance score of plus 20. Again, he's a slight minus in milk, coming in at -5, but he's big percentages at 0.19 fat and 15 protein. coming in at 20 kilos of solids. Again, he's a good score on TB at 6.8. Exceptionally well-made cows with good functional conformation. He's over 1 on locomotion score, udders, and overall conformation. And he's also positive in body condition score, so they're going to be easy managed cows that look after themselves and go out and do their own thing. The super production behind the dam as well, nearly 8,500 litres at 430 fat and 384 protein, just under 700 kilos of solids. So a really well balanced bull. Then moving on to a new bull again, Swift Heat Lucky. Big EBI bull with a massive fertility subindex, coming in at 279 EBI and 127 fertility subindex, with a good health score of 15. Again, a real well balanced bull, just under 100 kilos of milk, 0.13 fat and 0.10 protein, coming in at 20 kilos of solids. Again, an easy calving bull, good on TB. We actually saw the dam on the progeny tour, and she's a medium-sized cow, really well-made cow with hard top and super legs and feet. And there's a nice cow family behind him as well, with 6 generations VG and excellent. So that's those bulls.
Stephen, can I ask a question? I think most of those bulls, if not all, they're all available sexed as well, are they?
Sorry, yeah. All the ones I went through so far are all there sexed and will be our top selling bulls. So I'd be expecting them to sell out fairly fast. But yeah, they're all there sexed and good to go.
Super.
Then the next panel is the high percentages black and white sires. So these bulls have super milk percentages and solids that would put it up to the crossbreds, with a range of maintenance is in that system, so you can pick and choose which matches your herd. I suppose Mojo, mentioned before, being the top EBI bull, really you all probably know about him now, but coming in with a massive EBI of 285. I think his first daughters are actually started calving in, and there's good reports on them, so it'll be exciting to see how he does in the next run. Again, production subindex of 86, fertility of 120, and in massive percentages again at 0.31 fat and 0.18 protein. He's a Frank Joseph son out of a VG87 pointed cow, another cow I've seen, a real medium-sized, powerful black cow. Again, he's coming in with a AAA of 561, and there's I think over 20% British Frisian in him as well. So there'll be plenty power there, and then a very easy calving option as well. So that's Mojo. Then we've next gen Gervin, and an SRM bull. He is a Ballinard components out of a Candy and then AKZ. Again, a super fertility bull with 129. Big percentages again, coming in at 0.4 fat and 0.19 protein. He's super on all health traits again, with a health subindex of 18. And a TB score of 6.8. He's quite an outcross and super easy calving bull as well. And there's super production behind him again, with the dam doing 3.88% protein. So then another panel we have, I'm just going to skip through it fairly quickly, but this is our pedigree, production and confirmation panel. I suppose just to, if you're interested in those sort of bulls, all the confirmation scores are included there as well, if you're following that. But there'll be a lot of big production bulls in this panel, if you're interested in them. Then we have our daughter proven panel, where I suppose we're lucky to have a lot of genomic bulls come through and become proven and still perform exceptionally well. We've 33 different sires to choose from, and 7 of them are going to be sexed. I suppose we mentioned these 2 bulls before at the start, but we've got Ivant, who's the number 1 daughter-proven bull, and then Swoop he's number 2, but he's going to be available sexed as well for the coming year. But again, for a daughter-proven bull to be coming in with both of them coming in with EBIs of over 270, super production sub-indexes, and both over 120 in fertility, it's great to see their figures standing up. I suppose Ivant is a well-balanced bull. He's an absolute son out of a VG 87 pointed LWR out of a High Mount Kinney. He's an easy calving sire. Again, high health, really well balanced bull. And his daughters are performing extremely well in herds with just under 6,000 kilos of milk at nearly 500 kilos of solids for the first lactation is pretty impressive. And then again, Swoop doing really well. I suppose his real highlights are he's fast milking. So if you've cows that are a bit slow in milking, he's going to really improve that, and he's also adding a bit of rump width to cows as well. So he's going to add that bit of width to them as well. Again, his daughters are performing well with just under 5,500 kilos at nearly 430 fat, 360 protein, and 430 kilos of milk solids. So they're 2 good options if you're looking for daughter-proven bulls. Then we've our easy calving panel. I suppose it's important to mention in this panel that all these bulls have lots of calving records. So we've all the figures there that it's proven calving. So they all have plenty of records, and they're all under 6% in calving difficulty. 2 bulls here that we had picked out. Grand Slam. He's a Stark son out of an Ebony, out of a VG Sebastian. Again, coming in with 260 EBI, big production sub-index of 95, fertility is 68, a good health sub-index of 13, coming in just 0 on milk kilos, but 0.2 fat and 0.18 protein, 22 kilos of solids. Really well balanced bull. He's exceptionally good on mastitis and just over 7 on TB, so desirable scores there. He's quite low maintenance bull at 38, and with big percentages. He's a really suitable grazing sire. Again, there's a bit of British Frisian breeding in his background, so he's cows that are going to have plenty power. And he's also a bull that adds a bit of teat-lint as well, which is something to maybe keep an eye out of becoming a bit of an issue. So maybe Grand Slam, if you have a few cows a bit short and teats, he'd be a good bull to use on them. Then moving on to Zaki. He's also another daughter-proven bull, coming in with an EBI at 215. Again, a good balance between production. Coming in at 21% or 2.21% fat, 0.13 protein, and 21 kilos of solids. Again, is super for a daughter-proven bull. And yeah, he's also a bull that's going to add a bit of chest width and body condition to cows. So again, a bull that's going to really add power. Really well made, functional cows again. And then finally, we've got the health panel. I suppose the health panel is, I would say, health is becoming a big new thing in the breed, and we probably want to be watching out for a bit more. Not just the TB figure, but also your lameness, mastitis, and cell counts are incredibly important to be looking out for. So all these bulls on the health panel have super components, milk solids, and are exceptionally good on all health traits. So 2 bulls here are Clugini Pinatubu. He's a teak out of an 83 pointed dandy man out of a VG 87 Harold, coming in with an EBI at 211, production subindex of 85, fertility of 50, and then a massive health subindex at 27. Again, he's coming in at 55 kilos of milk, 0.21 fat, 0.12 protein, and 23 kilos of solids. Again, he's easy calving, and he's also a bull with a super management score, so they're going to be quiet cows and fast milking. So a real farmer friendly sort of cow. Again, you can see the picture of the dam there on the side, a real black, powerful cow. He's really well balanced. There's no holes in his linear. And again, a bull that's +1 in chest width and +1 in body condition score. So again, really well made, functional cows. Quite a fan of that bull. And then finishing up with our own bull that we mentioned at the start, Ballyhob Ringo. Ringo was used, I suppose, fairly heavily last year, and there's quite good reports of his calves on the ground, but he's coming in with an EBI of 214, a real balance between 74 in production, 78 in fertility, and then a big health subindex again of 25. He's coming up with 67 kilos of milk, 0.20 fat, 0.09 protein, and 22 kilos of solids. I suppose I've spoke through the cow family on him before, but there's 8 generations VG excellent behind him. And again, his conformation traits are pretty good, with positive in chest width and body condition, over 1 in locomotion score, and positive on others as well. So again, going to breed really well-made the functional cows. So that's kind of a quick run through of all the bulls, and we'll take any questions as we come. I suppose, oh yeah, sorry, we've a few other panels as well if people are interested. There's the strength panel, the outcross panel, and then we've a selection of jerseys, jersey crosses, British regions, Fleckvies, and some Viking reds. So they're all there available as well. So we've a massive selection of bulls available, something to suit every sort of production system. And then finally, we've our January sex semen early bird offer. It finishes up in the next week. There's a lot of bulls there that were mentioned tonight on it. So if you're interested in some of those bulls, I suggest to get in early and order away now. There's 10% off a lot of bulls. So no, he's yeah. If you're interested in make contact with your local FRM or anyone, I suppose, involved, and we'll all point you in the right direction. So that's it. That's about it.
Okay, great stuff, Stephen. That's a super presentation and a lot of information there. There's a question in there that Patrick is asking: is there a way to check a sire's or dam's milk production? So, do you want to take that, Stephen? Or
Yeah. Well, what I find very good is the IHFA website. They have all the pedigree bulls and SRMs available up on it. So if you go onto the website, click on animal search and type in the bull's name or his FR code, he'll pop up, and you'll be able to go back and look at the bull's pedigree. You'll be able to look at his dam's production, grand dam's production, and see how far back you can go. I find that super for finding out information on bulls. It's got pretty much everything.
yeah, I'd agree. And the other thing I find interesting always down the years is that you can also track the calving interval. You can see if the dam is calving regularly. They have the actual calving dates for each lactation, which is also very helpful. Like, and also the cell count scores are there for each, so you can see if an animal is kind of consistently, hovering, say, somewhere under 100 the whole time. You know that she's never any issues with cell count. which is also very
Yes.
important. So yeah, a lot of information there. I think that I'd agree with you. That's probably would be my go-to source as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's, as you say, a lot of bulls there. So look, be it your own, if you have a local technician or whoever, certainly we'd advise everyone to try and get in touch. The sex semen offer is actually going exceptionally well. We weren't sure how it would, sex semen would have gone in the current environment in terms of milk price, etc. But we're actually after selling more sex draws this January than last January. And so look, it's a case of, I think we actually budgeted, we did curtail maybe our requirement back from NCBC a little bit. So it probably, we will run out of the top bulls will definitely sell out, I suppose. Another question after coming in there, it's I find it a big job choosing bulls as there's so many options. What's the best advice on how to select them?
Yeah, that
So
is quite
it's a big question. We could be
yeah,
there all
yeah,
night.
that
Okay.
is quite a difficult question to answer, but I suppose is to first, I suppose, look at your own herd, see what you want to improve within your herd, and then try and pick those bulls that match that criteria you're trying to pick. I suppose those bull panels are a really handy tool to narrow down your search a bit. I suppose when I'm picking bulls, I don't necessarily pick the top BBI bulls, but I try to pick a bull that's well balanced in production, fertility, health, and then have a nice balance between milk, solids. And I also try to look for a functionally well-made cow that'll last within a herd. I suppose the best thing to do is, if you're looking for advice, pick up the phone and give someone a call, tell us what you're looking for, and we'll try and point you in the best direction you can. But I do get where you're coming from. There's a lot of information on every page, and yeah, trying to get through it all and narrow down your bull team can be a bit of a struggle at times.
But the other big change has happened since the base changes. The scores on the maintenance sub-index, have changed quite a bit. A lot of farmers probably knew what where their herd sat on the old system and ranking. Like maybe they were plus 10, plus 15. The herd was for maintenance, so they've all moved a bit. But there is a handy tool, I think, on inside an ICBF if farmers want to go into ICBF into the genetic evaluations. And if they click on EBI, and then there's actually a maintenance calculator there. So you can actually put in your own maintenance figure, and that will spit out the new figure. Or else you can also put in what your say the live weight. If your cows, if they're 570 kilos, it'll also tell you what the maintenance is on the new figures. So, again, that's something that's a handy little tool that ICBF have come up with in their Herd Plus. And
And I
obviously
suppose
a lot of
sire advice as well is a very handy job to pick out your bull
absolute.
team. That too, yeah. You can put in your
Yeah.
criteria and it'll knock out a lot of bulls that mightn't suit you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much, Stephen. And the night is moving on, and so we'll actually move on to Ciaran O'Sullivan has actually joined us. So Ciaran works for MSD, and I suppose when a lot of people will hear of MSD, they're thinking, vaccines, drugs, pharmaceuticals, whatever, Ciaran. But you obviously work in a totally different side of the business. So you might explain what it is that you do with MSD and SenseHub, please.
Yeah, no problem. Can you see my screen there, Tom?
Yes, yeah, you can go on to from the beginning if you want there on the slideshow, yeah.
It's just showing up here. I can't actually see my screen on my side.
Okay, well, yeah, what you've on here is you've the map of Ireland with all the contacts. So which is the second slide, number 2.
Can you still see it, yeah?
Yeah, go from beginning there. I'd say click. You were just going on from beginning. There you are. Now
Yeah.
you're on slide number 1. Perfect. Away
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, perfect, Tom. Yeah, so basically, I work with MSD Animal Health Ireland, so I'm covering the SenseHub portfolio. So basically, that's all your monitoring technology. So if you just look at the map here, just gives you an idea maybe of the what we're covering on the ground. So there's actually 6 reps we say covering the country, but I suppose more importantly, there's for every rep, there's technical and customer success specialists that follow us. So I suppose we go around and we sell the collars, but I suppose more importantly, we have a backup service. So I suppose we put an awful lot of emphasis on after service and dealing with customers on a daily basis. So we're always there at the end of the phone. I suppose there's someone even for the breeding season, there's someone on call 7 days a week. So it might be only a small question about breeding windows or about it loss of internet, whatever the case may be, but there's someone always there. I suppose in relation to the customer success and training and things, I suppose we do an awful lot of training with farmers in the systems. So we train both in relation to in on farm. So we want to farms, we do trainings with individual customers. We do a lot of training online and we do a lot of in-person training as well. So meetings, pre-breeding meetings. So I suppose it's just something that we like to emphasize that there's more than just the day you buy the collars. I suppose the day you buy off us is normally your first day, not your last day. Just in relation to SenseHub itself, I suppose, just to give you a rundown of what it's actually doing. So we're actually monitoring 10,000 million animals worldwide. We have 800,000 tags sold on subscription. So I'll go through that in a minute in a little more detail. So that's basically just a new system we bought out there over the last couple of years. There's 32,000 farms we monitored. There's 18,000 farms connected to the cloud. All this will become more relevant now when I go through it in a second, and we have 878 milk meters installed. Um, just in relation to the SenseHub ecosystem, so we have hardware and software, so there's kind of 2 sides to what we do. I suppose on the software side, it's what you're dealing with every day on a farm, basically. So it's your app on your phone, it's report generators for drafting off different reports, and then you have your customer support. And on the hardware side, that's actually your physical side. So it's your collars, your drafting, your milking side, and your young stock. So I'll go through young stock after. It's an add-on to this. So it's kind of the latest and greatest, I suppose, thing that does come online, Um, this is just an install we did lately just to give people an idea of what the collars actually look like and how they're installed. So in relation to the collars, so the collars are very, very simple. So they're basically the strap in them is the same as a belt buckle, so it's very straightforward to put on. So I suppose when we install a system, we go out on farm and we put up the base station. You'll see a picture of that now in a second. And we go out, we do kind of a site survey. We see where the best place to locate the base station is. The base station is quite a long range, so it'll go 800 meters by kind of 100 meters either side. And I suppose we try and locate it in the best place to suit the farm. I suppose then once we go out, we log in your ICBF details. So once your farm is registered with ICBF, you're going every female animal on your farm then is on the system. So when you go out and you're going to put in collars on cows, you literally look up the number of the cow, be it 200 or whatever the case may be. You look her up on your app. You literally put the phone up to the collar and the collar scans, and that's it saved on your phone. So it's a very, very simple process, and it makes life very easy for farmers to do it. It makes life very, very simple. In relation to the collars themselves, then, so the collars are the tags. You have both options. So both have the exact same functionality, even though they work slightly different. But the information that comes back to your phone is very, very similar. Um, you have sideline, you have low activity, medium activity, high activity. So there's a numerous different things. You have eating, grazing, rumination, walking. You see them all there in front of you, right? So just to go through them and explain them to you. So sideline basically is a cow in trouble. So a cow lying out on her side, be it that she's having in distress calving, she has a milk fever, or simply that there's something wrong. So it's just monitoring that. Low activity normally refers to a health issue. So low activity is referring to a cow basically that their activity levels are after dropping. So when a cow is sick, obviously their activity drops. That correlates to a rumination drop and an eating drop. So that's basically where your alert comes from. Medium activity is your normal daily activity. So that's your run of the mill, your cow walking the grass, going to the shed, whatever the case may be, and high activity relates to the bulling activity, we'll say, eating and grazing, I suppose that and rumination are very much linked. So the eating and grazing, so you normally see a dip in eating or grazing, and then you'll see the dip in rumination afterwards. So normally if you see them dips, it's in relation to a health issue, but also when you're dealing with sorry, when you're dealing with a bulling activity, your bulling activity, the when you're bulling, the activity, the rumination will dip, your eating will dip, and also your activity level will increase. So there's more than just the activity level of the cow that happens. So when a cow is bulling, you see all them different parameters. So you see your dip in rumination, you see your dip in eating, and you see your increased general activity. So general activity can be a bit of foolishness, so a cow that's a bit slow in the collect yard or whatever the case may be, and your high activity then is in relation to the actual bulling, what you see on a daily basis. Walking is taken into account as well. So that's if they're walking 100 meters today, if they're walking a kilometer tonight, all that is taken into consideration so that as the activity levels are increasing. Heavy breathing then normally relates to either it can be a number of things. It can relate to a cow in trouble, that's in trouble, that can show up as a cow distress, as a health alert. It can show pneumonia. Basically any ailment basically that can be seen that would result in the cow's breathing increasing. And a normal behavior then is kind of self-explanatory. That's just something different that's going on a daily basis. Just in relation to the base stations then and the different options available. So you basically, what you see there in the top left-hand corner is what your normal run-of-the-mill base station. So that is in relation to, that's what you see in most farms. So normally what you're looking at there is in the shed. So whatever direction it's faced, it's going 800 meters in front of it and 100 meters either side. Now there is the option of putting that on a swivel pole as well. Now, for milking herds, it's not critical because they're coming in twice a day, every day anyway. But I suppose where that really comes into play, that you need to be able to move that or turn it to face a different direction, is if you do have maiden heifers on the same block, you have the option of actually turning it to face them heifers as well as picking up your cows coming in. So you can do multiple things at the one time. Just something, I suppose, the picture on the bottom left and on the far right, I suppose that's something that's become more and more common over the last couple of years. So basically, they're mobile base stations. One is mounted in a trailer, the other is mounted on a concrete plinth that you can move with pallet forks or with bale spikes. So basically, a lot of fellas would have this now for heifer units and outside farms, that they can actually move it around. So it actually comes with a solar unit and a battery. You just put a SIM card into it and it works away. So I suppose it's more and more, it's becoming more and more common that this is being seen on farms. Just in relation to the reproduction monitoring then, okay. So I suppose this is, I suppose, predominantly why people buy collars or why people deal with us is to make their life a bit easier on breeding time and to get better results. So I suppose just in relation to the reproduction itself, there's a number of reports that people use on a daily basis. So obviously your animals in heat is your first report. When we go on to the next slide, you'll see how that actually shows up. So your animals in heat basically is any cow that's bulling at that given time. Your anestrus cows then is probably, I would argue, one of the most important reports in it. So it's actually any cow that has calved more than 50 days that hasn't shown a sign of heat. Okay, so any cow that's non-cycling, it identifies that cow for you. So the week before you go bulling, you know every cow that's not cycling. So the whole idea, and the irregular heats below it then, is any cow that shows 3 or more heats in a 30-day period. So your anestrus cows and your regular heats are 2 reports that you need to get looked at by your vet or by whoever does the scanning for you. And I suppose the whole idea is that the first day that your technician comes into the yard, or you start eyeing yourself, or whatever the case may be, dim cows are in a position to go and calf. So I suppose dim 2 reports in a lot of cases, unless you're doing very, very strenuous pre-breeding, dim cows sometimes get lost. So they can be empty cows before you ever start breeding, which is a shame, your suspected abortion, then that can be one or two things. It can either be a cow that loses an embryo somewhere along the way, or it can be a cow that shows some signs of heat when she's bulling. Either way, it's a cow that needs to be looked at. Pregnancy probability just tells you throughout the breeding season how things are going. So basically, after 3 weeks, it goes to low probability. After 42 days, it goes to high or to medium probability, and after 60 days, it goes to high probability. So it just gives the indication how your breeding season is going. So basically, if their pregnancy probability numbers is climbing up, it means that you're going the right direction. Your conception rates are quite good. So it's just an overview of the overall system. Expected calving and dry offs. So that's all linked with your technician coming to the yard. Are you inserting the information into the ICBF? So when that information comes in, it can generate a calving date off the day the cow is inseminated. So it'll actually tell you when she's due to calve. So example, if she's due to calve, we'll say the 27th of January, it'll tell you the cow will be due to dry the 27th of November, and it actually flashes up red on the app, so that it's just a reminder that cow is fit to be dried. Just in relation to the actual breeding, I suppose this is why most people talk to us about collars initially. So this is what the screen actually looks like on your phone or on your tablet, on your laptop, whatever the case may be. So we'd say the first cow there now is 1657. She's second calver, calved 39 days, breeding window 0, and the heat index is 92. So basically, the first two are self-explanatory. She's second calver and she's calved basically 40 days. The breeding window and the heat index are probably what farmers are looking at, okay? So the heat index is the strength of the heat, okay? So what we normally tell farmers is that heat index has to be over 80 to breed a cow. So you can have cows that'll be, we've all had cows before, and they've come in and we'd say you'd bull it today, you could bull the cow today, and all of a sudden then the day after or 2 days later she could be bullying again. Was she bullying the first time or was she bullying today? So the reason we say about that heat index to go over the 80 is you can have a cow down maybe at 56, 60 that's fully around with other cows that are in heat, but she might only be coming into heat, even though it might look to the naked eye like she is in heat. It might be the following day before heat comes in. So it's important that heat index hits over the 80, you know. I suppose the breeding window then, there's two breeding windows, there's conventional and sexed. So I suppose people think that there's a very, very tight window for the breeding window for both conventional and sexed, but it's actually quite wide, you know. So like for a conventional straw, you basically have 26 hours, and for a sex straw, you have 14 hours. But what our advice to farmers is that you breed at the first available opportunity. So once they hit the windows, you put them up for AI, you know. I suppose it's slightly different to what farmers are used to. You could actually see a cow bullying the field. It's a common phone call we get from farmers asking the question. You could see a cow bullying the field and she's not up in the phone. So the system will know the cow is in heat, but it won't actually present the cow until such time as she's fit to take a straw, right? So once they come up on the phone, they're in a position to be aid. So I think farmers just need to grasp that a little bit more, that the breeding windows are there, but like once they come up on the phone, it's time to ring your eye technician. It's not a case of waiting, you know. So it just gives you an idea on the breeding windows and how they work. I suppose just in relation to the health monitoring then, okay, so I suppose a lot of yards we go into, it's all about the breeding they're talking to us about, and it's about tightening up that calving pattern. It's about labour around breeding. It's about making life a bit easier and getting a bit more time off farm. And you go back 12 months later, and it seems to be always the health they're raving about. So it seems to be a thing that they put an awful lot of emphasis on when they're spending money in relation to the breeding, and the health sometimes gets overlooked a little bit. So the health side of it is excellent, to be honest with you. Like you basically have four different reports in health. So you have animals to inspect, you have health, you have animal distress, and you have early fresh cows, right? So animals to inspect basically is the alert you get up on your phone. So it's a list of animals. So basically each animal comes up very, very similar to the heat index. So you basically get a score for the cow, right? So it ranges from 50 to 100. So just in very, very rough. So 90 to 100 is normal. 80 to 90 is when they start showing as an alert. No, there's nothing wrong with them cows. They just mightn't be 100% at that given day. It's when they start heading under the 80, you need to keep an eye on them. So basically between 70 and 80, I'd be advising farmers to check them the next milking. And when they go under the 70 mark, then you're heading for trouble, you know. A cow distressed in is in relation to a rapid change in the body, be it your milk fevers, E. coli mastitis, something that happens over a couple hours as against happens with over maybe a period of a day or two, you know. So a cow distress is something that we tell farmers they need to respond to immediately, you know. And I suppose then the early fresh cows is in relation to, it's a report that farmers use in the springtime. It's a really, really nice report that I think not enough farmers get enough benefit out of it. It just basically shows your cows that are grouped less than 30 days, and it shows your rumination minutes. And a lot of farmers ask me, why do I need to know all this information? But it's not something you need to check every day, but it's something that's really nice to look at maybe twice a week just to see how them fresh cows are going. So just for example, your real good miller of a cow that's pumping out milk will be up at 650 minutes. Your cow that your run of the mill cow is down at 450 minutes. But the cows you're looking for is the cow that's down at 200, 150 minutes. They're your cows heading for trouble, be it displacements or be it ketose or acetose, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's just a simple management thing, like when you go to grass by night, you might just keep them in on a bit of roughage just to get the stomach going. It's not really something you need to ring the vet about, but it's just a real nice report that you can actually look at that just gives you an idea how the health of your herd is going overall. That's just an example of a cow that had a health alert. So if you look, the purple line there is rumination. The green line that you're seeing just running kind of in front of the yellow is the eating, and the brown line then is their activity. So you can see a clear correlation between the eating dropping and the rumination dropping. So if you look there where the little cow down sign is, that basically means that cow is called an alert there, right? So I suppose we've all have cows that have milk fever or whatever the case may be, and you get this alert. And I suppose the beauty about this is what I think it's important to get the alert, okay, and that you deal with the problem, but it's every bit as important that you see him climbing back up. So like that is the perfect scenario where you dealt with your cow, she was treated and she's gone back up. So what I recommend to farmers is there's no when you get your alert of a cow in the 70 and she looks sick, it's time to deal with her. But it's every bit as important to go back into the graph 12 or 24 hours later to make sure she's gone back up, that whatever you're after doing is after solving the problem, you know. Just when you scroll in tighter, that just shows you the hours then. So if you scroll into that app a bit tighter, it goes down into hours. So you can see when the cow is down, where the little medicine bag is there, when it's going back up, then you know your cow is heading the right direction. Just in relation to sorting gates then, sorting gates, drafting gates. So basically they come as a three-way standard, so you can have two or three-way gates. So they're fully linked with the collar. So if your cows are in heat, they're actually drafted automatically and they're waiting to pin for you. That goes the same for any of your anestrus cows. So you can basically any report that you can think of, or any situation any farmer said they can think of why they need to draft cows, you can do with this gate. So I suppose the beauty of this gate, it's drafted off a thing called LD technology. So that means it's collar drafting. So you can put the gate anywhere. There's no interference from be it solar panel inverters or or variously milk pumps or anything like that, missing cows. Because it's working off LD technology, you've no problem with other interference in the yard, and it does really work well. And anyone that doesn't have one or just have thinking about one, I'd say talk to people that have them. They're performing really well on farm, you know. Just SenseHub Young stock, then I suppose just to give you a quick run through this. So I suppose we launched this in the autumn of 25. So it was put on as a pilot on a number of farms across Ireland in the autumn 25, and it's gone really good for us. So it's basically a tag that goes on the calf from the day of birth that's monitoring the health. So the beauty of this is it can go on your calves. So the mobile base stations I showed you there previously, you can actually put them with the calves then if you want, if the calves are an outside block, whatever the case may be, and it'll monitor your calves as well. So some people say to me, oh, I've no problem with the calves in the shed, but when they go to grass, I get summer score or I get whatever the case may be, lungworm, whatever. This is another set of eyes on your calves the whole time, you know. And especially as farmers are getting that little bit busier, calves seem to getting trickier and trickier every year. And I suppose this is just another little part that makes life that bit easier for the farmer, you know. There's a number of farms, a number of customers of mine that actually have it installed, and feedback has been very positive, and they're seeing a real benefit from it. And I suppose the beauty about this tag is at 365 days, the tag changes to the same algorithms as the collars. So you can actually breed your maiden heifers off this tag as well, you know, and you actually have the option of leaving the tag go right through the lifetime of the animal. So instead of putting a collar on the cow, you can actually leave the tag on the right way all the way through if you decide to do so. That just gives you an idea on the SenseHub Dairy Livestock. So it goes on at 3 months, or from 0 to 3 months, so it goes on in day of birth. So it monitors your calves for the first 3 months when they're suckling. As they change the ruminants, then it's monitoring your calves and your heifers from 3 months to 12 months outside, and it goes on to your maiden heifers then as they go into the main group as well, you know. Um, yeah, so that's basically what it looks like on your phone, and you get that alert, you know. So what we're noticing is we did a number of trials on it there last year. I suppose last year was the first year it was made readily available, and there's a good few sold again for this coming season. But I suppose predominantly it's spring calving down this side of the country. So, but I suppose what we have noticed and what we've seen is that a lot of people say, well, I have a calf feeder, and if they're not, I know straight away when they're not drinking their milk. But what we're actually seeing with this is that you can see a calf that might drink their milk, but it might drink it for 2 or 3 days before you actually see a physical problem with the calf. Okay, so drinking the milk is what we all think is once they're eating, they're healthy, I suppose, what we all work off. But what you're noticing with this is that the calf is drinking their milk and it's gone back down, lying down inside in the calf bed. But the beauty about what you want to see is you want to see that bit of liveliness, or the bit when you live your calves into the new fresh straw that they're running around. That's every bit as important as the calf drinking, to show that they're lively and they're healthy. And this is just picking them up maybe that day or two before they're actually stopping drinking. So it's something that's performing well, and the fact it can work right through it into your heifer and stuff, it's another good option coming forward. Just in relation to payment options before I finish up, there's two ways you can buy the system off us. So there's a thing called SenseHub Go, which is it's basically a monthly subscription. So you're paying so much per cow per month. So there's no upfront cost. So basically, you sign into a 60-month contract. You're paying so much per month, so it's little and often. So I suppose it's kinder in the pocket, especially maybe this year the milk prices are and different things. You know exactly what your system's going to cost. As long as you're paying your monthly subscription, everything is covered under warranty. So if you do lose a tag or a collar or whatever the case may be, it's all covered. Be it after 1 year or after 10 years, it's still all covered. And the sense of upfront then, I suppose, is a traditional way, which is your TAMS eligible. So that's basically one and done. So it's a price per collar, and you buy your base station, and it's a one upfront cost, you know. So I suppose there are two different ways we can do it. So we kind of have both options to suit different farmers. And I suppose if you have any questions or want to know any more about it, you can talk to either ourselves or to any of the Munster Bovine reps. We'd be delighted to talk to you about it. So that's just a quick run through the sense of what it's doing. Thanks.
Great stuff, Ciaran. Yeah, brilliant. An awful lot of detail there, a lot going on. And as I said at the start, I know people that have put in the systems are delighted with them. As you say, it's a lot of farmers have put them in for the picking up, cows and heat, etc. But as you say, it is actually the heat or the health as well add-ons that they often come back and they're ravey about. A question in there from Gerald is that he's asking, is it only your own drafter that the collars are linked to, or are they linked to other brands as well?
With our own drafter. So we actually have our own drafter with the SenseHub, obviously. We've a link with Sabre. So MSD actually acquired Sabre a number of years ago. We've a link with Del Pro, which is Del Val drafter, and we have a local link as well with Airmaster. So we do have different options and I suppose we as a company are very open to linking with anyone, to be honest with you. It's not a big thing, but some companies are closed down with other brands, whatever the case may be. But if any customer wants to talk to us individually, we have no problem linking with any drafter if need be,
Okay, excellent. I suppose the question I'd have myself for you there as well, Ciaran, is that, we're now the last few days of January, farms are just starting to get calving. Some guys are up and running. When is the ideal time, or when would you say that a guy, if a farmer was intent on purchasing, a system from me, when would it need to be in time, adequate time? Would it need to be in a month, 6 weeks before the onset of AI?
Yeah.
If a guy, say, was going to start AI the 1st of May,
Yeah,
when
so
would be the minimum?
the system will actually calibrate for the heat side of it in a week, and it'll actually calibrate for the health side in 3 weeks. Now, I suppose we do recommend putting in a little bit before that, obviously, So what I say to people normally is the sooner the better. So like if you can build up a profile on a cow, especially if you're non-cycling cows and cows might be irregular, if you're putting in a week before breeding, you're losing that benefit for the first year of the collars. So you don't know the cows that are not cycling or the cows that might be in trouble. Whereas if you do get it on that 42 days out or maybe 45 days out, that you do get them 2 heats prior to breeding, you really are confident going into the breeding season that all your cows are in the correct position. So kind of the sooner the better is what we kind of recommend,
Okay, super. We have a question in from Liam. He's asking, how do you stop cows from drafting that evening if there were AI that morning? Sounds
Yeah,
like he's some issue.
yeah. So basically our cows have been drafted, I suppose, through it's been drafted through so the ICBF is what syncs our cows take you off. So when the cow's inseminated, it's down to when they're put in the when they're linked with ICBF. That's what takes them off our breeding list, we'll say that, because the system knows they're served, okay? Now the ICBF syncs, I think, at 12 o'clock at night, as far as I know. Normally it's kind of a 24-hour sync. So there at the moment there is no way of doing that unless you go back to a manual draft. Now, if you're breeding once a day, it doesn't really make a difference, to be honest with you. But if you are breeding that twice a day, that cow will still be drafted that evening as long as she's still within the breeding window. So at the moment, unless you're going back to a manual draft, there's no way around it at the minute. But I suppose what we say to people is you prefer them to be picked out than not picked out. So we can only do what we're getting from the ICBF, I suppose, to be honest with you.
Okay, and obviously, say if Liam was a service user using a tech that on the handheld, they're linked to ICBF, but then if Liam is a DIY operator, they will need to put in the serves manually as well onto
They
their
need
own
to put in the serve
Plus.
manually, and I suppose they need to put them in within what we recommend is within as soon as possible, obviously. But even if some of them sit down once a week and do it, at least, so the 24 hours is fine. But by the time the next day comes, she'll be gone off the list automatically anyway. So when she goes out of her window, she comes off it automatically. But I suppose the reason why we recommend to put in the ICBF, just so the system knows that the cow has been served, so the system can generate a pregnancy. Because if you don't link it, if you don't put that information into the ICBF in 3 weeks' time, if that cow doesn't cycle, the system doesn't know whether she was served or whether it is the case the cow is actually not cycling, that there's an issue with the cow. So it's important to put in them heats to get the most out of the system.
Okay. Right. That's great, Ciaran. There's a question back in, I'd say, for Cathal. Came in there, I'd say, when during Stephen's presentation. Um, the question is there a market for Wagyu bulls under 20 months of age, or is it for all steer beef for males?
Yeah, so I suppose on the meat side of things, we do look for just bullocks and heifers only in the program at the moment. We just don't have that market for bull beef at the moment. But I suppose like if the bullocks were fed well enough and intensively enough, we would have no problem getting them out at 20 months. Sorry, the bullocks, like if they were fed well enough and done, I think farmers can possibly get them out at the 20 months of age mark. And of course, we'll take them at that age, no problem at all.
Okay, excellent. Um, so look, I'm conscious it's gone 9:30. We've had a great attendance. There was over 180 there registered. And so I suppose I think that we might just wrap it up if that's okay. There isn't any more questions in. So I just want to really, I suppose, thank all our three speakers. Excellent presentations from everybody. And I think, I would say to anyone that have an interest in Wagyu, they can certainly reach out to any of the Munster people, the FRM sales people, or also, get in contact with Cathal directly himself. Um, Again, as for Ciaran, again, MSD, Munster do have a kind of a referral system, so we do refer on any leads onto MSD. And that seems to be working quite well. And obviously, MSD are an excellent company to work with, and we're very happy to have that relationship. So well done, Ciaran, and look forward to working with you also in the future. And finally, want to thank obviously our own Stephen Shannon. That was a great. Stephen has shows the in-depth knowledge that he has, and I think it's just great to hear all about the top sires that are available for the coming breeding season. So the webinars are a great success. I mean, I suppose especially now this time of the year, if farmers are at home, they have cows just calving, they'd be very slow to move out to say a hotel tonight, whereas the webinars does give an opportunity for farmers to be able to sit down at home and relax, and then even if they have to pop out to the shed if to tend to cow calving, they can do that and come back in again. So the format works well, and yeah, so we look forward to meeting you all again. Hopefully, we'll have another webinar coming our way shortly, and I want to thank everyone for joining, and again thank our three speakers. So with that's it, we'll leave it for there, and thanks everyone again. Okay.